This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Running through brick walls is what we do finally here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, the state of Minnesota, and all across the upper Midwest and all along the Vikings radio network. We now know what it's like to have Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers. What it's like to have Lenny Dawson, then Pat Mahomes. What it's like to have Roman Gabriel, and then, well, okay, they didn't have anybody good after that. And then who do they have now? Matty Stafford. We know what it's like to have Steve Bartkowski and then Kirk Cup. And then Bo Nick. We know what it's like to have a franchise quarterback. How much fun is this? We went from rags to riches in a matter of, 3 hours? Well, it wasn't quite 3 hours because the first half and then, almost through the entire third quarter. So that's about that's about 2 hours, right? 2.5 hours. And then so we went from rags for 2+ hours to riches shortly thereafter. And the soon to be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings are now 1-0, Kings of the North again. And they have the quarterback they wanted. I needed to see it. I'd said it forever. I said it yesterday. I said it on a couple of occasions. Cautiously optimistic, but I'm not taking anybody's word for it, especially anybody that belongs to an organization. And not just the Vikings, the Twins, or the Lions, Tigers, or Bears. I mean, in sports, every organization is going to ballyhoo their draft picks, their free agent signings, the coaches they've hired, whatever the case may be, and that's what they're supposed to do. Pro sports is all about selling hope. And when you draft a kid and you go, well, yeah, okay. As a matter of fact, I threw out some Ponder numbers in his first start when it was going bad. And I've got a lot of emails I want to get to. This could last for an entire day because we got an hour here and then when Rosen comes in. But the emails that I saw this morning after I played golf, did you see my my video on? I did. Because I was struggling on the golf course. And then suddenly I heard somebody whispering in my ear and I thought it was the golf god. It was J.J. McCarthy. And he said, how did he say it again? Where else would you want to be? Something like that. And I thought, there's no place I'd rather, there's no place I'd go. Well, the only place I'd rather have been, other than the golf course, would have been with Raquel Welch in 3D. 3D, that's my apartment number. But that wasn't going to happen. And so it was on a golf course. And so, it was a tale of two, actually, like I say, a little more than a half. But I mean, we went from, rock bottom to a number one, top of the heap with what happened last night. 3 tutties in the fourth quarter. They had some statistic of first quarterbacks in Steve Young in a debut performance to have 3 tutties, 2 passing and a running tutty in a fourth quarter. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, Steve Young was a pretty good player. If the Vikings could get a Steve Young kind of career out of J.J. McCarthy, that would be pretty good.
I think we would take that.
Yeah, I think we would take that. But it is interesting because I still, again, it's a nice start. I'm not going to wet blanket it here. There's plenty of time to wet blanket it. But, again, it's one game, but it was promising. It was better to have it happen that way than the other way, right? To all of a sudden, come
out
of
Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. Throw a couple of tutties and then, have a lead and then all of a sudden revert to panic-stricken, throwing interceptions, fumbling the ball away. It's like I say, Teneby, if you were going to shoot, let's say you're going to shoot 80, let's say you're going to shoot 90.
Yeah.
Would you rather shoot 90 going, how should I say it? 40.
42, 48.
50, yeah, or 40, 50, or would you rather go 50, 40? And you'd rather go, I think.
I'd rather go 50, 40, yeah.
Yeah, because then you finish on a good note. You have a good taste in your mouth. You can't wait to get out and play. You overcame adversity. Yes. You can't wait to go out and play again. And that's exactly what happened to the Vikings last night. And again, when you break it down, there's plenty to get to. It did look bad early. the offensive line, it looked worse than the offensive line last year. It took them a while to gel. I don't know if that's, you give the Bears the credit or if it just took a while. Running game wasn't anything early on. The passing game wasn't anything. Defensively, we were having trouble. And that's mostly because of Caleb Williams. I don't think it's so much about anything about scheme or anything. That kid, I mean, he is a weapon. Now, if he ever learns how, I mean, like that fourth quarter, he looked really shaky.
Yep.
He was indecisive. He was
inaccurate.
Yeah, because they still had a chance to get back in that ball game and win it. He missed some open receivers out there that were open that he just overthrew them and made bad passes. And so, but all in all, obviously, thrilling game. If you're a Vikings fan, if you're a Bears fan, you're scratching your head and wonder what comes next. But looked pretty good last night. The legendary one, Mark Rosen, will join us just before 2:00 to talk Vikings football. We'll take a short break. Got a special guest coming up on the other side of the break, so we'll do that, and when and then we'll talk more Vikings football. In case the legendary one, Mark Rosen, will join us, as I say, just before 2:00 right here on the Fan.
Farm Aid 40 is coming to Minneapolis. Join Willie Nelson, Neil Young, Kenny Chesney, Dave Matthews, and more Saturday, September 20th at Huntington Bank Stadium. Celebrate 40 years of music, food, and family farming. Limited tickets are still available. Get the full details at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 pastime comedies. 10 to be. Mark Rosen joins us just before 2. Quick little detour in Vikings talk here. We're excited and delighted to welcome to our studios David Booth with Special Olympics Minnesota. David, how are you, my boy?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. Special Olympics. We were just talking off air. Special Olympics. United States Special Olympics is coming next year to the Twin Cities. It's sort of like the Olympic trials, because then the World Olympics is going to be in Chile next year, right?
That is correct. It'll be in Santiago, Chile, but frankly, we have an amazing opportunity here with our USA Games and to really showcase what inclusion, especially through sport, can look like and how our state of Minnesota has really embraced that role.
How do you, what's your role with Special Olympics? What do you do for them?
So I serve on the 2026 USA Games Board of Directors. I also serve as a co-chair for the Athlete Advisory Council for the Games. I really focus on just advocating and presenting ideas to the leadership team to help give an athlete perspective when we're putting this event together.
So the Olympics will be here. It's less than a year out from here in Minnesota, right?
Oh, yeah. It's about 9 months. We have a calendar on our website, which is www.usagames2026.org. And I hear it all the time. Just keep counting those days down because it's going to be here just when you know it. June 20th from the 26th.
June 20th through the 26th. And here in the Twin Cities, how many athletes will be in town?
So right now we're looking at over 3,000 athletes, and we need some 15,000 volunteers to make an event like
15,000, huh?
Yeah, it's a huge event. We have 2 locations that we're hosting sports.
Okay.
One on the University of Minnesota campus and also up in Blaine. And we have 16 sports that we're currently offering for our USA Games.
So 16 sports, and give us an example of some of those where soccer is one of them, I'm assuming, because they're going to be up in Blaine?
Yep, soccer, flag football. You might see some amazing throws by our athletes, and also some new ones, including cornhole and pickleball.
Really? Seriously?
Oh, yeah.
So how did the Special Olympics USA end up here in the Twin Cities? How does that work?
So there was a competitive bid process done, and it was between a few states, including Minnesota, but Minnesota ultimately won out in the bid because they presented a vision for how they want to take these USA Games and really drive home the mission of Special Olympics, which is inclusive health, inclusive sports, and just offering a more unified community through sports.
How many Minnesota athletes will be included? Are all 50 states represented? How does that work?
So there will be 52 delegations because California is split into 2, and then we have Washington, D.C. And all the rest of the U.S. states. From Minnesota, we have roughly almost 250 athletes going.
Okay. Now, are these athletes are they competing to get in, or does anybody that's a Special Olympic athlete get to participate, or is there like trials for them? You have to qualify for your event.
So that's a great question.
Thank you.
Varies from state to state.
Okay.
Here in Minnesota, usually the prerequisite is if you have a gold medal, then you go through what is called the qualifying period, where you apply for the sport that you qualified in, and then it's really just the luck of the draw, as they say. And if your name gets picked, then you get to go.
Sweet.
If not, that's okay, because, and this goes out to all the fans out there too, we have a lot to offer for fan experience and through volunteer experience. Because again, we as athletes, we love to be able to compete, but just being able to have you guys out here cheering us on, and most importantly, being a part of this is more than what we want, because you guys deserve to be included in this. This isn't just us. It's all of us. And that's what makes the USA Games and Special Olympics itself truly an impactful movement.
David Booth is our guest in our booth here at 1600 Utica Avenue South of KFAN headquarters. I would think an enterprise like this costs a lot of money. Where does the funding come from? Is it all donations? How does that work?
So the majority of the money we get is through donations, through private businesses, which, behalf of the LOC, thank you to all of our donors who have donated. And you could be a corporation if you want to donate. You can also go to our Club 26 and be a part of and help donate to these games. So, and also the public has also helped too in donating. So it's a really unified effort.
Yeah, because I would think hosting an event like this on a scale as it is, it's got to have quite the price tag to it.
Oh, it is, but when you
because I'm glad we do, but I'm just saying that you must have to raise a lot of money, because you have to have housing, and you have to have officials and transportation and food. I mean, there's a lot that goes into an enterprise like this.
Oh, of course, but through our CEO Christy Sovereign, we have met this challenge head on.
Sure.
And from what I have seen, coming together is something truly magical, and I encourage all of you to come on out and see it.
So it's all, now when the events start next June, is it free and open to the public? Are there tickets, or how does that work?
So opening ceremonies, there, from what I understand, will be a charge, but everything else is free.
Okay.
Fan zone is free. All of the events you want to go to is pretty much free. So please come on out.
Where's the opening ceremony going to be?
Huntington Bank Stadium.
Oh, cool. It's a great location, because much of the U is going to be the location for the events. Let's say, so you need, did you say 15,000 volunteers or 1,500?
15,000 volunteers. It's going to be an all hands on deck.
How many do you have right now? I mean, I'm not asking for an exact number, but do you have a quarter, half, all? Do you have enough volunteers? Are you still looking for volunteers?
Unfortunately, I do not have those numbers in front of me, but I can tell you that the portal for general volunteers is going to open up in January, so please be on the lookout for that.
Okay, so for general volunteers, that'll come up in January. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to tell us about Special Olympics?
Frankly, it's been a transformative organization for me. I would not have had the opportunities that I have, even speaking to you right now, without this organization. So if you want to see the impact that sports can have on all of us, as we were watching yesterday when JJ McCarthy just led that drive and just got us back and got us that win, come on out and see that through the thousands of athletes that are participating at the USA Games. You will see beauty, love, compassion, and unity without the drive to try to make money. It's beauty of sport in its purest form.
What's that website again? If people are just finding out about activities or volunteering or donating money, where do they go?
It's at www.specialolympics.usagames2026.org.
Beautiful. Thanks for coming in and sharing your time with us and letting us know about Special Olympics. We're looking forward to it next year. We appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you very much.
You bet. This is David Booth from Special Olympics Minnesota. We'll take a short break, come back, get back into some Vikings talk. Other side of the break here on the Common Man program on The Fan.
Get ready to laugh out loud. Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias is bringing his comedy tour to Treasure Island Resort and Casino live. What? Okay, this is from 2 days ago.
This is from 2 days.
This happened a couple times. We'll just say live September 6th and 7th. Don't miss your chance to see one of the world's funniest comedians. Get your tickets today at CICasino.com.
Who's in charge of the vibes? I mean, I'm not, I'm not really trying to call somebody out on the air, but I guess I am. I mean, why are those still in the system?
In their defense, I should probably be reading them beforehand.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that as well. Yeah, you might want to do that. I mean, you're not going to hear me say, Meat Sauce and I had a comedy show at Bogart's a couple of months ago. We'd love you to show up. I mean, that's just not how it works in this business. Comedies tend to be. Before we welcome Mark Rosen into the conversation, I'm not good at, especially after a football game, I can't in chronological order talk about all the highs and lows and ups and downs. It's just not me. I'm too scatterbrained. And, again, this isn't an excuse. It's a reason. I spent my formative years under the influence of a multicolored galaxy of uppers and downers and screamers and laughers. Did you know there's nothing more depraved than a man in the depths of an ether binge? And so for me to plan, that's why I'm a radio gardener rather than an architect. I just can't outline things. I just have to I've spent my entire life just winging it. But I got to admit, and maybe I shouldn't admit this. Is this wrong, Teneby? But let me preface it by saying about what I'm about to say. Let me preface what I'm about to say with this. I can't control what happens on the football field, right? I can only watch. And so as it was spiraling out of control for the Vikings, all I could think about, how I've been chiding Rosen about we should have signed Aaron Rodgers. All I was thinking about was you would have done a rock bottom montage or something. Then I was going to request of you to put together a special Mark Rosen montage where we'd have all McCarthy's mistakes, like we'd have McCarthy back to he's sacked, and so on his first series as a Viking, the Vikings go 3-and-out. Then the next highlight would be Rodgers back to pass. He throws, touchdown, Steelers. And I was starting to get actually excited about the prospect of
that
it.
One.
And it's not because I wanted the Vikings to lose or was rooting against. It was just I can't control what happens out there. So it's sort of, how am I trying to say? It would be a, what's that old phrase about, if you can't have what you really want, it's like, what am I trying to say here? It's like a good booby prize or something is what I'm trying to say. So, if I can't have what I want as the victory, well, what the hell? That's the next, I guess what I'm trying to say is the next best
consolation
thing.
Prize.
A consolation prize, the next best thing. Because if Rosie heard that, if I did that to him, he would take the headsets off like Meat Sauce used to when he would lose a program password and fire him across. Rosie would fire his headsets and probably walk out of the studio. But I was excited about that. Is that wrong? That I was excited about.
There's many times I've been watching a Vikings game thinking, man, this would be a great Paul Allen.
Right.
I mean, let's face it, the best montages are Paul Allen dejected highlight calls.
It really is. That's the truth. I mean, they're probably the easiest to put together.
Specifically meltdown related dejected calls.
I mean, how good is who was the guy? What are you doing? What was his name?
Cam Dantzler.
Yeah, Cam Dantzler. What are you doing? How good is that? Teneby, I was cautiously optimistic, but let's just start with this right here. I'm now not convinced that we're going to be going to Cooperstown in 15 years for his Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Though it was a terrific start. Particularly, it wasn't just. Here's what I say. I was expecting in between what we saw last night from him.
Sure. I
didn't think it was going to be really bad like it was early. And then I didn't think it would be as spectacular as it was in the second half, particularly that fourth quarter. So it was kind of a little of both. I think part of the problems too was that offensive line was not very good early. He was not getting a lot of time. Running game wasn't particularly good. We took a long time to get Mason the ball. I don't think Mason touched the ball until the second or third series that we had the football. Defensively, I even tweeted this out. I basically said, it looks like Ben Johnson's got B-Flow's number. Because, while Johnson was with Detroit, it was 4-0 against B-Flow's defense, or 5-0, something like that. Yeah, 4-0. And while the offense wasn't, they weren't Detroit Lions like, they were still effective enough. The Caleb, it's hard to keep him contained. And then I think I think B-Flow did what he's known for. They became
aggressive without being reckless.
And all of a sudden they started to limit. I don't know what they do, but they sort of tried to keep him inside the pocket, and it worked very effectively. He became lost out there, and that allows him 3 and outs, and the Vikings were able to get the football and turn them into scores. Now, we got to say it, and this isn't the first time a football team has benefited from missed calls, but that wasn't pass interference on Naylor. That just wasn't. That's as
Vikings had a couple favorable calls.
They did.
Last night.
They certainly did. They also had the holding call that led to Santos trying a 50-yard field goal. Now, the Vikings still may have held them to a field goal try, but that was not a hold. Let's face it, it wasn't. And then Santos missed, and that's where the momentum really changed for the Vikings. I think if they get that field goal there, they would have been up 20
to 6 at the time. Yeah,
20 to 6. That would have been not insurmountable. Obviously, we saw that, but it was at that point where the Vikings, I think, started changing what they were doing defensively, what they did offensively, and then the win one for the Gipper speech by McCarthy in the huddle apparently was important as well. I would have liked to have. Well, I'm glad we didn't need to see it, but let's say they wouldn't have called the pass interference, which wasn't pass interference. It would have been 4th and 1. Do you think what's your guess? We will never know. Do you think they kicked the figgy to go 17-15?
Nah, 4th and 1.
I think they
in
go
their
for
territory.
It,
you go for it.
I think they go for it. And who knows if they make it? But the way they were moving the ball, despite the bad call, they probably make it.
Given the aggressiveness on 3rd down, that would lead me to believe they knew they were going for it on 4th down.
Yes, I agree. I think that's exactly what they would have done. But had they not made it, that maybe changed the complexion of the game, but none of that matters. Like I tweeted this last night, the Vikings have been on every team in the National Football League has had blown calls go in their favor, and they've also had blown calls go against them. So the Vikings have had their fair share of both, and so that's just part of the game. That's the National Football League. So yeah, I was very impressed with the way he played. Now, again, the Bears seem to almost go into a little bit of a prevent there, right, too? It's almost like they weren't quite as aggressive. Or maybe I'm not seeing it as clearly as I thought I did. Maybe just a lot of that had to do with the Vikings finally deciding maybe we ought to block somebody, for crying out loud. Maybe we ought to give our guys some time. Wide receivers
maybe
get
KOC's genius,
and that's possible
threw them
too.
off.
That could very well be. But it was... it looked bad. I mean, like I say, the emails that I didn't see them until today because I'm not checking emails during the game. But hold on, give me. Here they are. Okay, here are some of them that I got last night. Hold on, those are yesterday's. Here it is. Keep this one in your back pocket for a Monday morning overreaction on a Tuesday afternoon. First wish, more wishes. Second wish, game time 7:20 next Sunday night against the Falcons. Third wish, go back in time to the beginning of June before Rodgers signs with Pittsburgh because we're just a quarterback away from going to the big game. This came at 8:15 last night to the Common Man's email. This one came at 9:17. Brosmer. So already, is that the earliest anybody's called for the backup quarterback to take the field?
Third string quarterback.
Third string quarterback. We're in the first game of the season early in the second half, and we're already doing that. Here's another one. Oh, how about this, Teddy B? You get the last laugh in this one. Poor Tenna. We tried to warn him. We can't blame him for getting drunk on the McCarthy Kool-Aid, but we did try to warn him. Then he's got the smiley face with the tears pouring out of the eyes. You had drank the McCarthy Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It looked like you were about to be, like there was cyanide in it in the first half.
I was doubting that a little bit.
Yeah, I would
the first
think so.
2.5 quarters.
Then this one came in from Hugh at 7:37. Okay, so this is really early. Click. I'll check back in a half hour. This has disaster written all over it, and it did. It was ugly. That's why I tweeted out the Ponder stats. Ponder stats in a loss to Green. Now, if I have this correct, I think he came in for some time against Chicago, but then he started the next week. His very first start, they lost to Green Bay, but his numbers really weren't awful. He had 2 tutties. I think he had 1 int, or maybe it was 2 ints. And his completion percentage wasn't half bad. The yardage wasn't bad. They lost, but so I'm thinking, and then we know what happened with Ponder. I'm thinking, this guy's posting worse numbers than Christian Ponder, which is not a is not a good sign. Here's this one came at 9:37. Might be worst quarterback performance than when Vikings brought in Josh Freeman and he played a Thursday night football game like 5 days on the team. It was Josh Freeman-like. And I hadn't thought of the Freeman comparison, but that's what it was looking like.
I was watching last night and I literally thought Spurgeon win. Like, this is one of the worst quarterback performances I've seen since Spurgeon win.
And so those are just an example of... here's a different. This one came in at 7:20 this morning, and this is a little wet blanket, but not really. I think this is realistic, Tennessee, because I do want to say we're having fun with it. Nothing's going to stop us now. It's a great opening night for the Vikings, and particularly a spectacular debut for the kid once he got over the rough patches of the first three quarters. But this emailer says, "Kid's resilient. He's no Jordan Love, so I'm assuming he's a Packers fan." But decent start. We'll see once he plays a decent defense. He did only have like 50 yards and a pick for a tutty. Bears playing prevent defense isn't a good test, but we will see. And the Bears aren't a very good team. And I think that goes to show you, we talked about this, Tennessee, yesterday, and we've actually talked about it on and off for years, about the old cliche about players play and coaches coach. I mean, you could look at the Detroit and Green Bay game. Detroit loses both of their coordinators. They lose Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, is best offense in football for the past couple of years with Detroit. He goes and gets the head coaching job at Chicago. Aaron Glenn, defensive mastermind for Detroit, goes with the New York Jets, and the Lions offense was inept. Now, I give a lot of credit to that Packer defense, but I don't want to put all the blame on the new offensive coordinator, because that offensive line, the middle of the Detroit offensive line looked like the Vikings' middle of the interior of the offensive line last year. And so the offensive coordinator can't go out there and block, right? I mean, he can put a good game plan together, do the things he needs to do to set the team up for success. But if the players can't make the plays, it doesn't matter how good your coordinator is. Same thing, Ben Johnson, the genius, that offense was non-existent. They were awful in the second half, especially late in the game when they were, all they needed to do was pick up a few first downs, maybe kick a figgy somewhere along the line, and they would have maybe been able to stave off the Vikings, but they weren't able to do it. So when you don't have weapons like Detroit did the last year with the offensive line, St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sonic and Knuckles and Laporta, and a really good offensive line, that can make offensive coordinators look like they're geniuses, right? And so you got to have them both. But
by the way, the he's no Jordan Love line.
Yeah,
I would also add, Jordan Love was not a full-time starter in the National Football League until he was 24 years old.
Exactly right.
J.J. McCarthy's doing it at 22. Jordan Love had one start his rookie season because I think Rodgers was hurt for a game. He went 19 of 34, 190 yards, one touchdown, one interception. So, like, Jordan Love was not brilliant game one.
No, he was not. He was not. Well. So, yeah, it is intriguing, and it's early. I mean, again, it's one game, but as I've said before, when you play a bad team, like we see it in college football all the time. The Gophers just played one of the worst college football teams maybe ever assembled, right? They won 66-0. No disrespect to those kids, but they're just overmatched, right? Well, better to beat an overmatched opponent in a rout than to lose to one or struggle, right? And so better that the kid, he struggled early. The interception was just awful. I mean, that's just, he telegraphed it. I like the way O'Connell, he's the very best. He credited the interception because it was an ex-Viking. He said, well, we coached him up to be, he knew what he was doing.
I always loved that one.
He recognized whatever pass play they were doing. He said he recognized it after working with B-Flow and our defense here in Minnesota. But that was a terrible interception. And that did look like, the beginning and the end. I mean, I thought, well, now it's going to turn into a rout here because there was nothing that I saw that would lead me to. I mean, McCarthy had the throw just before halftime, right? That you go, oh, yeah, nice throw. Got him into field
goal. That was a big
points.
3 points.
Yeah, and that was a huge 3 points. It gave him a figure. You look at the final score, they won by 3. Now, again, it could all change depending upon score and timeouts and all that. Bears, too bad they didn't have timeouts. They used them earlier in the game. And that was a really smart play by the Vikings to run that ball out because it really doesn't matter.
It was also a really dumb play by Chicago to even kick it to him.
Yeah.
Like, why not just kick the ball out of bounds and then just give him the ball at the 40?
Yeah.
Right? Like, because field position is not nearly as important as the 40 seconds that can come off the clock with an extra play before the 2-minute warning. So that was a huge mistake by Chicago to even. They just thought, let's try to kick the touchback. They should just kick it out of bounds. Don't even give him a chance to return it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Text message says, there are a lot of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks took a full season or 2 full seasons before they were good. No, I didn't know that. I just thought every Super Bowl quarterback immediately had a great year. I mean, don't send that stuff. It's just ridiculous. It's just as you're watching, though, you're looking at he's struggling so bad. That's why I'm saying right now, I did the old better to play well than to play bad in your debut, and he had both. But he finished well. He brought the team back to. Now he had help, good blocking, receivers that got open, play calling. It's the quarterback always probably gets in generally he gets an inordinate amount of credit, and most of the time it is because of the quarterback. But you got to spread it around a little bit. But yeah, it's a great start. Now whether you can keep it up, and the Bears aren't very good.
I have a feeling he's going to be kind of roller coaster Rosen this year, right? Like what we saw last night was kind of what I saw in joint practices against the Patriots. The first day, it didn't look very good. The offense didn't move the ball very well. Beginning of the second day, didn't look very good. And then once he got in a little bit of a rhythm, he just went on an absolute heater. And so, how long that's going to take him to get comfortable in the NFL, the speed, the defenses, the offense you're playing in. I don't know how long that learning curve is going to take, but I have a feeling he's going to go on stretches where he looks pretty good for a while. Then he's going to have stretches where they can't move the ball.
Yes, absolutely. Well, especially because, look, that's the beauty. I mean, the schedule, we talked about this. The first 5 weeks are probably, again, on paper, are the most conducive to putting together a pretty nice little stretch. And then we've got the Ravens, we've got Buffalo,
Eagles at Chargers, right? At Detroit, Baltimore. They don't have Buffalo on the schedule. But
they don't have Buffalo?
No.
Okay. There's, Cincinnati, right? They have the Bengals?
Cincinnati's coming up in 2 weeks.
So there's certainly, but you know what? We talk about this all the time. If you're in one of those cities, you're saying we got some tough games coming up. Minnesota. So,
sure.
Again, Minnesota, I'm like, well, they certainly won't be going into those games overmatched. There's a good chance they're underdogs in a couple of those games, particularly road games. But that was fun. I got to admit, I wasn't ready to turn it off, but I was thinking there are probably better things I could do with my time right now than watch the beatdown. But it was a exhilarating comeback for the Purple, and it just kind of kept building. And you could sense Chicago couldn't stop it. Your mama couldn't stop it. Your daddy couldn't stop it. The police couldn't stop it. And the Bears certainly couldn't stop it.
I mean, the energy on the bench is about as much as I've seen in a Vikings regular season game. You could tell not only did JJ need that for himself, but I think he kind of needed to prove to his teammates and how much they wanted it for JJ as that game went along. You could just tell after he ran it in, after he threw the one to Aaron Jones, that bench was as energetic as I've seen.
I want to ask you a question, Tennessee. Is there any place you'd rather be than here with me?
You don't want to hear the answer.
No, because right now there's no other place I'd rather be than in the studio with you and about to welcome Mark Rosen in the conversation. Aww. No other place I'd rather be. Rosie joins us next.
What about a golf course?
Okay. You got a tea time for me? I'll go right now. We'll take a break and come back. Rosen joins us next here on The Fan.